tells the whole theme of people that have got nowhere to live and they have nothing. So the tree is quite symbolic in that. And around the tree we have people from the church, but also from the community, that will bring in food and so on, that will be delivered to the Homeless Project actually on Christmas Day. And that will gradually get full, and we'll take that round. So this small crib here was made by one of the older ladies in the church, and I felt that was good as well, that Mary with Jesus and being homeless at the time, it seemed to be relevant to link that with the homeless tree. Curie tree. Now, Marie Curie is a charity that's in the United Kingdom, and it deals with cancer research and it helps. They also have nurses, and their identification symbol is a daffodil, and they have a daffodil in their lapels for the Marie Curie collection days. And one of our members of our church works as in a charity shop for Marie Curie in Worthing, and this was her simple version of the Marie Curie. She decorated that, and there's leaflets around for people to have a look at it, and she asked her shop manager if she could put one up. We put them up because we want to display to the community all the various organisations that are there to help people in their time of need, Marie Curie being one of them. And if we come up to the white tree, this white tree is for the mission to seafarers. Now, all of us, without exception, couldn't enjoy the life that we have without seamen all over the world, delivering cargoes to all parts of the country, all parts of the world. Now, the seamen face all sorts of dangers, as we well know: pirates in the Indian Ocean, being kidnapped, being murdered, also being rejected and being neglected by ship owners in ports all over the world. And some of them could be American, could be English, could be French, and 24/7, 365 years, they will be out serving whatever their country is, but bringing in products. And they're in seaports where they know nobody. Fortunately, the Mission to Seafarers have hostels in almost every seaport in the world, and these seamen can go there, meet their fellow seamen, and have meals and sit there. And this church supports the Mission to Seafarers. This one here is the family support work. This is the Chichester Diocese, of which we're part of. And the family support work, they help all families who are suffering hardship, families who have lost a parent through divorce or through bereavement. And we in our church here help a lot. We have what's called messy play in our church hall, and we have bake-ins to help people understand and know how to bake practically, and how to sew and how to knit. We also have families from abroad, immigrants coming in who don't have a clue what our lifestyle is, and family support help them, and they help them bring them into the community. And at the moment we have a Syrian family because the United Kingdom have offered sanctuary to some Syrian families, and we've been blessed to have one in Worthing. But we have one in Worthing, and it's the family support people who will help them. This tree here is a tree put up by one of our ladies here, and this is the Mind tree. Mind is a mental charity. It's a charity that deals with people who have mental illnesses, and this is their. These are things like they have a community in the town, Worthing, and they have much the same as we have here in this church. They have people there to help and give them advice, and they can sit, have coffee and chat with people. And this is very close to a member of our church. She's here today. and she asked for the first time to put up a tree, and there the tree is in for Mind. That they were making quilts and so on, and the prison governor thought there was messages inside it. For when they went out and were sold, the prison governors thought there were messages in this for prisoners to escape. And it wasn't until they looked at the patterns that there were no such messages in the quilts. They were just being made. They're making quilts and making cushions. And these are men, hardy murderers and that sort of thing, are making things and want to give back to society. And they're called the fine cell workers. Cell meaning the prison cell. And the fine work is meaning all of that.
The fine cell work. These are prisoners.
Now, in the early Victorian times, there wasn't the welfare benefits that we have. So therefore, they used to have people who worked on the land farmers, but when the man died, the widow would be thrown off because she couldn't work the land. And believe it or not, down here in 1840, it was farmland.
Mm-hmm.
So a benefactor called John Humphreys, and the road that it's built on, Humphreys, gave a sum of money in 1842. It was about £1,500. Now that £1,500 helped build 2 almshouses, and the almshouses are still there to this day, the old almshouse. And in there we would put widows, and they would get alms money. Now the Queen on Maundy Thursday gives out Maundy money. Well, it's more or less the same. It's alms. Alms means giving money. And they used to get a sum of money every month, and they had to live off that. And it was only for a single woman 5 shillings, and for a married couple 7 and 6pence. Now that was quite a lot of money in 1840, but they had to make that last for a whole month. Now, bringing up to the modern day, we now have 8 residents in there. Each of them pay what is called a weekly maintenance charge, which is not a rent. They're not tenants, they're residents. They're there by deed of covenant. They're interviewed. Now, what is poor these days? Well, I used to work for the welfare department. Poor means if you have less than £16,000, so that's probably about 24,000 US dollars. So if you have that sort of money, you're deemed to be poor. So we have to look at that, and we have to look to when we ask people when there is a vacancy and we want people to go in, we have to make sure that they have very limited income and that they are single ladies or widowed ladies, but we cannot take men. Our deeds do not allow us to take men.
Why is that?
I think because in 1840, when the men died, it was the widows that were left penniless, and they couldn't help themselves. A man of great respect in those days was seen to be a man, and women were seen to be looking after the house and cooking and all that sort of thing. So therefore, they were seen to be helpless and without any work and without any knowledge of any work. So that's the reason. But if it was a married couple could live there, and if the woman died, the man could stay there. But even to this day, we cannot ask a man to go and live there. It has to be women. And we look after them, and they pay a contribution towards living there, and the almshouse itself pay the rest. Now, the money that was given in 1842 has been cleverly invested. We don't fundraise. The money has been invested, and now it is quite a wealthy trust, and therefore the residents want for nothing. We'll make sure that they're flat. They live in self-contained flats, a lounge, a bedroom, a nice bathroom, and the bathroom is a sit-in bathroom as well, so they can sit and have a shower, or they can sit and have a bath. When I say sit-in, it's not a big bathtub, it's a bath with a small area where they can sit and the water can come up to their waist. We have 3 ladies in the almshouse that worship in this church. Yes, 3 of them out of the 8, which is not bad. All the others go to church, and that's another covenant. They have to be churchgoers to go in there. But we're seeking to improve our trust document because we're falling foul of the Equality Act at the moment. So we've got a charity lawyer who's looking into our trust document. Okay. Now this is the Macmillan Nurses tree. Macmillan nurses are cancer oncology nurses in all hospitals in the NHS. They are funded by the NHS and also funded by Macmillan, and again it's for cancer. And this is a tree that Jan and I built, and these stars are from Macmillan, and I believe that they are cancer cell stars. And they were supplied by Macmillan nurses, and the reason for that is my wife just had cancer twice, and she's had breast cancer and has had double mastectomies, and it was Macmillan nurses who supported us through the process. I didn't realise the second time when we were going for the results why this nurse should be putting her arm around my shoulder and holding me tight. And I just thought she was being affectionate. Little did I realise that some bad news was going to be told, and that's what she was doing, is comforting. And so we do this for the Macmillan nurses, and we have leaflets there for people to take. We had a concert here for Macmillan nurses and raised quite a bit of money for a Sussex rehab centre in Brighton, and we had a contribution towards that. So I'm delighted with that. And so that's it. And as my wife, it's in simple red and gold, no other colours, because that is the trade of and the green tree. So that's the Macmillan nurses. Some of the choir that we had are come from other churches to help in our carol service because we haven't got a big choir. But that's their tree, and it's ably built by yet again another member of the church. So all of the trees are built by people from I say built, but the ladies say dressed. The trees are dressed, I say built. But
decorate, I would say decorate.
Decorate, yeah. Something.
There you go, all these different
I know, so it's all there.
things.
So, and that's it. And then the community play was a play that we did in June 2014 over a period of 2 years. So it was 2 years in the planning. And it was about the history of this church, Christ Church, and also about certain things that went on in Worthing in the 1880s and the Victorian times when the Salvation Army people descended on Worthing in their temperance manner, saying that anybody drinking were evil, and in other words, they were being very judgmental. But certain aspects of what they were saying is true, because the men would go out and work, and they'd come get their pay, and they'd go down to the pubs, hostelries, and drink and get drunk and take very little money home. So some of the wives used to have with their children would go with nothing because the men had gone out drinking. So it was called the drink, the forces of evil and that sort of thing. And they had what was like a skeleton army and the Salvation Army, and they fought and they set fire to people. They filled beer barrels with tar, set them alight and rolled them down Montague Street and all that sort of thing. And the Riot Act had to be read out on the steps of the town hall. Now, if you go to the centre of the town, there's a piazza there. Well, that's the site of the old town hall, and that's where the Riot Act was read. And the Riot Act was read. It's more or less like state of emergency these days, you know. And so we had that. We also did a lot of research at the National Newspaper Archive to find out what went on in this church. We also had old church magazines and minutes, and we were able to extract a history. And then somebody from the church wrote a play, and we produced the play, and the staging was all along here, right up to the sanctuary, and it was professionally produced. It's sad that we can't give you a DVD of it because it won't be in the format that you could play when you get home. But the magazine that I've given you gives you quite a big description of what went on. It gives you the cast list of things in. Janine was in it, John Bull was in it. John Bull was the one that read the Riot Act. He stood up there and read the Riot Act. And that is it.